Alright, let's see if everything is working the way it should be. Looks like it is. Everywhere it should be. Because, you always got to make sure. Mic check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. How's everybody doing out there tonight? It is finally time for the Nagoya Basho. The Nagoya Basho being held in the new arena. I believe it is called the IG Arena. There was the whole thing I wanted to say to start, but it completely left my brain. Yeah, sometimes the gap does feel long. Sometimes it's like 5 weeks. Sometimes it's like 7 weeks. It takes, like, whenever the first or the second falls on a Sunday, it comes really quick. Like, it's gonna come quick in November. It starts in November 9th. But then for, like, September, it's gonna start on the 14th, the 13th. So, like, some of these gaps are big, some of these gaps are small. But, starting a little bit late tonight because, whatchamacallit, we were preparing for Gideon's birthday party. He just turned 1 last week on the 2nd. I just turned 31 yesterday because I'm an old man. And let me just do one more run through to make sure everywhere is exactly where it needs to be. Yes, day 1 is tomorrow. It is currently day 0, the preview show, and tonight we will be going over a few things like Guess the Banzuke, some injury news for Daieisho and Endo, my Kachi Clash, and then after that on the Twitch side we will watch a couple of videos, the ring purification ceremony, some training videos, some videos of sumo wrestlers throwing out the first pitch at baseball games, and some more. So, first things first, of course we have to talk about the new Yokozuna Onosato. Again, over on the Twitch side, we will be watching a little bit more because over here on YouTube, they are much more stingy about copyright. So if I started watching a YouTube video on the YouTube side, they would come and strike me and kill me, and we don't want that to happen. So, yes, again, tomorrow is day 1. Today is just day 0, the preview show. And I hope everyone is doing all right tonight. Let me just double check one last thing. There we go. And we are ready and raring to go. So, to Yokozuna, Hoshoryu, and Onosato. I still see a lot of people saying Hoshoryu, he got promoted too early. I might agree with that, but in his first full performance as a Yokozuna, 12-3 Junyusho, one of those wins coming on day 15 against Onosato, who went 14-1, denied the Zensho Yusho on the final day. He absolutely deserves Yokozuna. He is an incredible talent. 4 Yusho in 7 tournaments. And if you want to even go back one more, that's an additional runner-up. So 4 Yusho and a Junyusho in 8 tournaments for Onosato. Just a phenomenal talent. Cannot wait to see him. I did mention a little bit earlier, Daieisho is out for injury, Endo is also out for injury, and that breaks a 1,070 match streak since his debut all the way back in 2012, where he was never out for injury, and these 2 days in July of 2022 do not count because that was due to the COVID absences. So that was a very special case. Same thing happened to Tamawashi. His streaks are still alive. But unfortunate for Daieisho that he will be out. But that just means the race might be even tighter between Kirishima and Wakatakakage to see if they can make it to Ozeki. I'll go over the Banzuke a little bit more in depth because I am excited to let you all know that I actually scored well on Guess the Banzuke this time. So you could have copied my homework and done pretty well. 48 points, a 9-6 record. I think this is the best I've done on Kachi Clash in multiple years. I was not too far from the top ranks, but let's go over my Guess the Banzuke real quick compared to the real Banzuke. Of course, I got everything correct up to Komusubi 1 What time is this live to start tomorrow? It should be at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Usually it's like 9 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Japanese time. That's when the lowest of the lowest divisions start. And then the main event happens 4 p.m. Japanese Standard Time, the Makuchi division. So here we have my Kachi Clash, and the one thing I predicted was that they would demote Takayasu from Komusubi to Maegashira 2. And because they didn't do that, they demoted Takayasu a half of a rank for his 6-9 record, which I think is incredibly generous. Like, I know there are many factors that would go into why they would be so generous to Takayasu. Former Ozeki, 6-9 record in Komusubi is not bad. Fan favorite. And on top of that, the next closest guy that could have become a Komusubi, maybe Aonishiki, they put him at Maegashira 1 instead. And honestly, I think that's okay. So those factors coming in to keep Takayasu at Komusubi, that's understandable. But what that did was it messed up like the first 4 or 5 ranks of this my Kachi Clash here, because Takayasu didn't move down as far as I thought, so everyone was out of sync, and I only got half of a point for Abi. And after that, I got Onokatsu and Kin Bozan on the dot, and then after that, just the entire middle of the Banzuke was so hard to guess. Haku Oho up to Maegashira 4, I had him at Maegashira 5. Tamawashi right next to him, which I got half of a point for. Hirada Umi and Meisei at Maegashira 5, I had Meisei at Maegashira 6, and Hirada Umi at Maegashira 4. So, you know, just a lot of things not really lining up next to each other. Who's the Rikshi from Europe besides Sushishi? That would be Aonishiki. Aonishiki is the other Ukrainian Rikshi. And I do believe there is a British one that just joined recently, too. There's also the American Hikaru Musashi, who's down in Jonidan, but we'll get to him later. But yeah, my entire middle of the Banzuke here was just completely off, because it's one of those things where so many people are moving past each other, it's so hard to accurately predict. It's going to be a crapshoot, so I'll just skip all the way down to where I started getting things correct again. Ichi Yamamoto, Uda, Atami Fuji, I got in the right spots, but then the other losers, Chiyoshoma, Rolga, Takanosho, I missed out on. And then this is where I was really surprised, because the bottom of the Banzuke is usually very difficult to call, because they're not kind to promotions, and they are sometimes pretty harsh on demotions. So originally I said Nishikigi is going to stay on, but instead they dropped Nishikigi to promote Koto Eiho, who's going to be making his debut, which I think is really cool. And then somehow I just ripped the entire bottom of the Banzuke point for point, from Churano Umi all the way down to Shishi almost. Like, again, it's so difficult to call these types of things that it really is just a crapshoot, especially at the bottom. And the fact that I got most of it right is partially one of the reasons why I scored so well in Guess the Banzuke. And if you want to play Guess the Banzuke too, I highly recommend it. You can do it after the Basho ends, up to, I think, a week before the release of the Banzuke, because there used to be Banzuke leaks years and years ago. I don't know how far back this graph goes, but you can see the number of players has gone from like 50 up to 150 back down to like 60, 70 players, hovering at around 70, 80 players for several years. And then I like to think, you know, because of the rise of the Sumo Food channel, because of me and Carla and, you know, all these other sumo streamers gaining popularity, especially during COVID when there weren't really any other sports on, it was really just sumo that really caught in popularity. So now it's like this last tournament had over 300 people guessing the Banzuke, so many new people guessing and getting some good scores on it too. That's always super cool to see. But yeah, it's free to enter. It's just for fun. You know, you don't get a prize that I know of for you know, getting first place, but it's another way to interact with the sumo community. It's another way to kind of get into the minds of the sumo wrestlers. It's kind of like, I guess you could kind of equate it to like another way to play a fantasy sport. Like, you know, people play fantasy football and baseball and whatever else like that. It's just another way to like try to dig into the mindset or the more analytical side of how things happen in this sport. So I highly recommend playing. It's a lot of fun, even if you don't get it right like I do. I wonder if I could look up my own personal stats or not. I know you can somewhere, but I wouldn't know where to find that. So we'll move on to that news that I mentioned earlier. Daieisho and Endo are missing the Nagoya Basho. This comes from Italian Ozeki over on Twitter. He just translates articles and posts them. I highly recommend following it on Twitter. Less than 2 days before the start of the Nagoya Basho, the first defections, that's an odd translation, but I get it, have arrived. And unfortunately, they concern two Rikishi from Oitakaze's stable, Daieisho and Endo. In a telephone interview, as reported by Nikon Sport, their stable master Oitakaze Oyakata, former Maegashira Daisho Yama, revealed that Daieisho will be absent due to pain in his right calf, while Endo needs surgery, or rather had surgery in his right knee, and a little bit later down in the article they say he might need it in his left knee as well. It's great disappointment for Daieisho in his 7th consecutive Sanyaku tournament, 5th as Sekiwake, who with 14 victories would have been an Ozeki. Not that that would have happened, let's be real. I'm being a little mean right there. Now that the situation is considerably more complicated for him and the priority is to regain his health. I hope he can wrestle, but I don't know what will happen. Everything will depend on his future recovery. He initially sustained the injury while training at his stable and seemed on the mend, but the situation worsened when he transferred to Nagoya for the tournament. Once some time has passed and his muscles have healed, he'll be able to wrestle. First of all, he has to recover from this injury. There's no point in rushing, says his Oyakata. Daieisho ends his consecutive 1,070 bouts streak that began with his sumo debut in March of 2012. Endo's situation is quite serious, having undergone non-arthroscopic surgery on the right knee, but since both knees are damaged, there's a possibility he'll also need surgery on the left one in the future. It will take 1 or 2 months for his return. For now, I'll do my best to train him for the next tournament, said Oitakaze. Hoping to see that Endo at the autumn tournament in September, where he will certainly be demoted to Judo. So, unfortunate that both of these men are going to be out, but like I said earlier, it should make things a little bit more interesting for this Ozeki race without Daieisho up there. Kirishima and Wakatakakage have the chance to strike and possibly challenge for that Ozeki rank. And I'll be looking forward to seeing that. I also don't have an article on it. I'll see if Italian Ozeki has one. But Nabatame is also going to be out, and there is no article about it. But Nabatame is also going to be out until March of next year. He needs ligament surgery. I don't remember where. But Nabatame, being Judo 10, being out for 4 tournaments, he's going to fall to possibly the 5th division. So it's going to be hard for him to climb back up. Very unlucky that this had to come as he was doing well in this 2nd division. 11-4, injured in March this year. 8-7 at the previous tournament. He is only 23 years old, so, you know, coming back, he'll be 25, 26 by the time he makes it back to Judo. That's kind of a generous prediction, but he'll still be young, he'll still be strong. I think he'll be able to bounce back from it. So, very unfortunate that Nabatame is going to be out. He is one of those fan favorites, and he's someone that a lot of people like to watch. So, of course, people are going to be upset that he's not here. Give me 1 second to take a drink. Ah, man, I'm thirsty. I just downed this entire water bottle. But, another thing that I did want to add was, Tamawashi, is continuing all of his, you know, his streaks for his records. You could see in the top right-hand corner, they're going to be ticking away. Most Basho in the top division, most consecutive matches in the top division, so on and so on. But he also made it into the top 10 for another record. The most wins. So, let me just pull this up. Sumo records. So, Tamawashi is now in the top 10 for the most career wins at 861. He is 11 wins behind Yokozuna Taiho and 46 wins away from Aminishiki. And then, of course, Hakuho has 1187. I don't think he's ever going to catch up to that. But Tamawashi, I mean, the wins come naturally as he continues having his matches, right? So if he just sticks around for a couple more years, which, I mean, that dude is old. He is not a young gentleman. But if he sticks around, especially in the top division, where is he right now? Tamawashi, he's not this low on the Banzuke. Tamawashi at Maegashira 4, even if he goes 6-9, 7-8 almost every single tournament, it's going to be a very slow fall. He'll still be racking up wins. He'll still be racking up matches. I mean, being able to crack over 900 wins is definitely within the realm of possibility. And that would put him, you know, around Aminishiki, 8th place if he keeps going. Waka Onosato has 914. Kyoku Tenho has 927. Kitano Umi has 951. And then right after that, Oshio has 964. And then there's a huge gap between Oshio and Chiono Fuji, who has 1045. And then, again, number 1, Hakuho, 1,187 wins in his 20-year career. That's insane. And on top of that, he took a couple of tournaments off. So, Tamawashi doing this every single day. Top 10 in those career wins. He's already top 5 in the most top division bouts, top 6 most career bouts, number 1 most consecutive career bouts, number 3 most consecutive top division bouts, like, and then of course also most tournaments in the top division, once again behind Aminishiki, who is at 97, tied with Takamiyama at 97. So, he's still trucking. He's still going. Tamawashi. Let's just hope that he can keep on trucking. So, that will bring us to everyone's favorite section, the section everyone has been waiting for, Kachi Clash. This is where we play our fantasy sumo. Give me 1 second, because I'm going to crack open a root. A and W for anyone who's wondering, as we get into the nitty-gritty of the Kachi Clash. Now, this one's going to be fun. It's going to be difficult, but I already know who I'm picking. Yokozuna and Ozeki. We only have 3 guys up here. Hoshoryu, Onosato, Kotozakura. The obvious choice is Onosato. Easily. But we have to wonder, will he have that sophomore slump? It happened when he became an Ozeki that he went 9-6 in his first tournament as an Ozeki. Onosato now is going to be in his first tournament as a Yokozuna. Is he going to struggle in this first tournament as Yokozuna, or will he do what Hoshoryu couldn't and finish the tournament strong, potentially winning it? With the momentum at his back and with how much stronger he's gotten tournament by tournament, how much smarter he's gotten as well, I don't think he's gotten that much faster, but definitely seems to be stronger and smarter. Onosato, clear favorite to win the tournament. Clearly the number 1 that anyone should be picking, honestly. You'd be stupid to not pick him. Across from him, Hoshoryu. Now, again, there's still that debate. Oh, did he deserve the promotion? Whether or not you think he deserves it, he's the Yokozuna. And the question is, will he win this tournament over Onosato? I think it's possible. In the same way it's possible to win a coin flip 5 times in a row, you know? Because Onosato is so strong, and because Hoshoryu still drops matches to Maegashira men, like even if we want to look at Hoshoryu historically, just the last tournament, dropped a match to Oho, who, to be fair, was surging 3-0 at that moment. Dropped a match to Abi, which Abi is difficult for anybody. And then dropped a match to Kirishima, who Kirishima finished very strong, 11-4, wants to get back to Ozeki. Was a Yokozuna hopeful at one point as well, so, you know, can't really fault him for that. But he defeats Onosato. He almost always defeats Onosato, even in practice recently. This was a funny story that I read, where Onosato and Hoshoryu separately set up a practice session at, I think it was a started with an S. The Sakaigawa? No, that's a high school, isn't it? But both of the Yokozunas separately set up a training session at another stable for interstable training. And when they both showed up there, it's like, all right, I guess we have to fight each other. And Hoshoryu won 3-1 in those practice matches. So, even in practice matches, Hoshoryu is Onosato's kryptonite. But Hoshoryu has to not drop matches to, you know, seemingly random people. Like, again, if we want to go back to his Yusho run at Ozeki, lost to Atami Fuji, who finished 5-10, lost to Shodai, because of course Shodai would get a win, lost to Hirado Umi, who that's his only loss to Hirado Umi. Go back to that 13-2 Jun Yusho, losing to Abi, which again, Abi is difficult for anybody, losing to Kotozakura, who won the tournament, and Kotozakura is an Ozeki, so that matchup is more 50-50 at the very least, but even before that, 8-7 at Ozeki, losing to Takanosho, Atami Fuji, Tobizaru, who almost 50-50 with Tobizaru, even. He has a losing record to Oho, who he lost to Ura, lost to Abi. Why is it always Abi? Someone get Abi out of here. Maybe if he doesn't have to fight Abi, he'll win the tournament. But, Hoshoryu, he definitely has the strength, he has the speed, he has the potential to win the tournament. Will he win this tournament? Again, I think it's possible, but I want to say it's like 75-25 in favor for Onosato to win the tournament, even if Onosato doesn't beat Hoshoryu directly. Like, it could just be the same as last tournament where Onosato goes 14-1. But, again, if Onosato has that sophomore slump, which we will know early on in the tournament, we do have the schedule, which I'll go more in-depth with a little bit later. But we have Onosato Oshoma, and then we have Onosato Aonishiki. Whoo! That should be a good one. But even if you want to see the guys nearby, he's fighting Kirishima, Wakatakakage, Wakamoto Haru, Abi. He's like, these are all a lot of strong guys. Question is, will they be stronger than Onosato? Will Onosato drop that random match to somebody like Hoshoryu seemingly does more often? I don't think he will. But again, I am gonna put in that little grain of doubt. It is a new title. It is new pressure, new, situations that come with it. He's going to be doing the Yokozuna ring entering ceremony. He is the representation of sumo. Will that change his mindset at all? Will that affect his sumo at all? These are questions that will be answered in the first few days. But for now, I'm still kind of calling it. I favor Onosato to win the whole tournament. And then, last but not least, the Ozeki Kotozakura. Now, Kotozakura is also an enigma. Went 14-1, was almost there, but then injury, 5-10, saves himself from Karoban, 2 straight 8-7s. I think he's still struggling with that leg. Like, that's not something that goes away overnight, especially when you're training every day, and especially when you're meant to perform and you need to get wins. 8 and 7, I think whatever happened with his leg in that 5 and 10 tournament is still lingering. And, you know, like, there are football players, like wide receivers, that will have an ankle injury that plagues them all season long. And that's like, 6 months long season. It has been 6 months, more than 6 months now. But again, it could be something that just keeps going. Could be something that just might not go away until he actually gets like a full tournament off of rest, like a full couple of months of rest. I don't know. We haven't really heard anything about it because, again, if it doesn't take him out of the tournament, then they're not going to talk about it, basically. But Kotozakura, he's my favorite out of the three. I'm going to pick him purely because he's my favorite, but I don't expect him to be the favorite to win. I expect him to be the long shot out of these three. And if you're picking Kotozakura out of Onosato or Hoshoryu, you're doing it because he's your favorite, or you're doing it because you want to be different in the off chance that Kotozakura has a better tournament than these two, which at his best, he definitely can. At his best, Kotozakura can have a better tournament than those two. And his best was earlier this year, where his only loss was to Oho. He defeated Onosato. He defeated Hoshoryu. Like, we know he can do it. He's just got to pull it together. Next up, the Sekiwake and Komusubi. Kirishima, Wakatakakage. Do not pick Daieisho. Daieisho is out for injury. And then Oshoma and Takayasu. Thank you, Mississippi Cajun, for your subscription. But Kirishima, Wakatakakage, Oshoma, and Takayasu. Now, Takayasu, I'm going to be quick with him. Don't get me wrong. I love him. He's great. But I'm not picking him. You shouldn't pick him either unless he's your favorite. But I don't think he's going to get a winning record. I don't think he's going to come close to a Yusho. I think if you want to pick someone who's going to get a winning record, you're going to go with a Sekiwake in the first place. Oshoma. Now, he's not a mystery to me, but I think his rise has been very interesting. And thank you, Carl, for the $5 super chat. I said Supo chat because I saw Sumo in your message. Supo. But Oshoma, it was funny, all through 2023. It's like, dang, when is this guy gonna get off of the rank of Judio 4? Because he was there pretty much the entire year, from January 2023 to March of 2024. He was Judio 3, Judio 4, and Judio 5. Just sitting there marinating for, a little over a year. And then all of a sudden, 10 and 5, 10 and 5, 8-7, 9-6, 10-5. Like, he is ripping off some good wins. But you look at that 4 and 11 from when he was Maegashira 4. That's very bad news. Because he's going to be fighting a lot of those same people. He's going to be fighting Wakatakakage, who he actually beats. Losing to Hoshoryu, losing to Kotozakura, losing to Wakamoto Haru. Beats Oho, sure. Loses to Ura, loses to Daieisho, who is out this tournament. Loses to Hirado Umi. And I'm willing to bet he's probably lost to Onosato, or would lose to Onosato if they ever fought each other. And thank you, Scandalous Murph and Green Eagle, for your subscriptions. Starting a hype train over in that Twitch chat. I'd also like to let you guys know, too, I am streaming on Kick again. Because, with the fiber internet, I figure, well, we have the additional bandwidth. I may as well stream to Kick. And, well, whether or not we get taken down anywhere else, Kick is just another option to view me. But anyway, Oshoma, I don't believe he'll have a winning record. His debut at Komusubi is very good for him, very nice, but it's partially because a lot of people above him lost. Like, Maegashira 6 to Komusubi does not happen too often. And not that this would be an over-promotion, but he is going to get shell-shocked day 1 and 2 when he has to fight the Yokozunas. Or rather, day 1 when he has to fight the Yokozuna Onosato. And then, of course, he will have to fight the other Yokozuna eventually anyway, you know? So, Oshoma, I don't see him getting away with a winning record either. I would like it if he surprises us, but I don't see it happening. Now, Kirishima and Wakatakakage. These were guys years ago that we were talking about being Ozeki and Yokozuna hopefuls. Kirishima became Ozeki, Wakatakakage got injured. Wakatakakage is back. Kirishima is in great form. And if both of them wrestle at their best, it will be a fantastic tournament to watch. Because when these two guys are good, sumo is just more interesting because of their interesting styles. Coming off of the back of a 9-6, 12-3, Wakatakakage needs another, how many wins? Math. 12 wins to get the mathematical 33-3. Kirishima repeatedly comes close and then just doesn't do it. 11-4 from Maegashira 1, 8-7 at Komusubi, 11-4 from Sekiwake. He would need 14 wins to get it. I mean, 13 and a Yusho would probably do it as well. But Kirishima, 11-4, looked great last tournament. You might disagree. I don't see him being Ozeki again. I'd like to be proven wrong. Yeah, me too. Losing to Daieisho, losing to Wakatakakage, losing to Oho. It always seems to be Oho. Does Oho only exist to be like the upset guy that ruins you? Is Oho the new Shodai? Do we curse Oho with that title? I'll have to discuss that with Kongo tomorrow. And then, for all intents and purposes, losing a match to Takayasu that he should have won as well, you know. Takayasu losing record on the decline. At this point, he was 11-3. Honestly, should have won that match. But when Kirishima looks good, it's just fantastic. He has great sumo. But when he looks bad, it's just like... Wakatakakage, on the other hand, he has been looking very good. That 1-7-8, when he made it back to Komusubi, a bit of a stumble, but just getting his sea legs back when fighting against the Sanyaku, 9-6, 12-3, that's a fantastic trend. I could easily see double-digit win score here, and I think that's a much easier call to make than a Kirishima doing well call, because again, Kirishima, when he's great, but when he's not, he's not. And it seems like you're going to bounce back and forth between will he be great or won't he be great. And again, you got to remember, 2 years ago was his debut at Ozeki, and then only a little bit after that we thought, will he make it to Yokozuna? And then injury took him down. If he is fully healed, which, again, that injury took him down a year ago, he gained Ozeki and he lost Ozeki in Nagoya. Will he regain Ozeki in Nagoya this year as well? That would be awesome. Maybe it's just being in the Nagoya heat or something. I don't know what it is with Kirishima, but I hope he can do well. But I think there's a clear-cut answer here on who the best pick is, and I think it's Wakatakakage. Now, this next section, this is also going to be pretty difficult, but I don't have to worry because Tobizaru is not in it. Aonishiki, Wakamoto Haru, Oho, Abi, Onokatsu, Kinbozan, Haku Oho, Tamawashi, Hirado Umi, and Meisei. I will start by skipping the Maegashira ones and go straight to the Maegashira 2. Oho and Abi. They seem to exist more as men who will upset tournaments, men who will disrupt a sumo wrestler's otherwise good record, otherwise good tournament. And very rarely will they be contenders. Oho, I mean, Abi does have a Yusho under his belt. That was, almost 3 years ago now. Oho, he was a contender only a couple of tournaments ago, but since then, look at these scores. Just going back a year, 9-6, 9-6, okay, that's good. 6-9, 6-9, 7-8. That 12-3 Jun Yusho looking more and more like a flash in the pan. But, he can hang up here. Oho can hang up here. But he's just not getting it done. I wouldn't pick him. Abi, on the other hand, the perennial forever Komusubi back when he was the Komusubi. Regained Komusubi. Won a Yusho. Had a couple of Jun Yusho when he was fighting against lower ranked guys too. Came close in late 2021. But since returning to these highest ranks, he's being overpowered. He's losing a step. Abi, Maegashira 2, I wouldn't vote for him here either. Even with that Kinboshi at the previous tournaments, even if he does upset one or even both Yokozuna, he's way too inconsistent, and he is slowing down. You can see it. He is not nearly as fast as he used to be. Onokatsu, I can't say I know too much about him, but he is surging. Look at these scores. Debut 7-8, then a 9-6. New career high 7-8, and then 2 straight 10-5s for the 25-year-old out of Nippon Sports Science University. I don't know what to expect from him here. But seeing as he is Maegashira 3, he will be fighting the Sanyaku, which are the biggest guys. Usually, when someone comes up this far and has to fight the Sanyaku for the first time, they have a massive struggle and only really start getting wins back in that second week when there's they're already 0-6 and they're being pitted against Maegashira's 7s and 8s. He has Abi and then Wakatakakage, and he's going to be fighting the Yokozuna at some point, so I don't have high hopes for Onokatsu. Kinbozan, kind of in the same boat, except he has been this high before. Maegashira 5, 4-11, granted that was 2 years ago. And then he never really came back up this high until recently. Maegashira 5, 6-9. He loses to Hirado Umi, Takeru Fuji, Ichi Yamamoto, Oshoma, Oho, which are all guys that he's going to be fighting. Chiyoshima, Nishikigi are too low. Kirishima, he lost to. He's going to be fighting him too. And you look at his wins, I mean, Tamawashi is in the neighborhood. Haku Oho is in the neighborhood, but that's not really enough. And again, he's going to have to fight the Yokozuna. He's going to have to fight everybody above him. I do not have high hopes for Kinbozan. Haku Oho is in the same boat as those guys. He rattled off 7 straight wins before losing 6 straight. So, very hot and cold. This new career high, it does not inspire confidence. And, I mean, again, he is still young. I would say he's still recovering from that shoulder surgery. It took him a while to get back up from Judio into the top division. But you could also argue that at that previous tournament, the reason why his performance dipped was because he knew that Hakuho, his Oyakata, was retiring. That was the big news that happened after the previous tournament. Hakuho retired from the Sumo Association and is going to start his own international sumo association. I don't know anything more about that. What is the website? This is SumoDB, Sumo Database. But, not really sure what Hakuho's plans are for that, but if he needs a commentator, he knows where to find me. But for Haku Oho, and for sumo in general, it is just as physical as it is mental. Dealing with the stress and the uncertainty of what will happen to your stable master, about what will happen to you. That probably affected his performance at the previous Basho, and being here at Maegashira 4, I think he's going to have a slightly better chance of, dodging more of the Sanyaku ranks, especially if he, loses to a lot of them in these early weeks. But Kin Bozan and Oshoma, those are 2 winnable matches in those first 2 days, and then after that, eventually he'll fight the Yokozuna. I think he's going to lose, but again, he's still 21 years old, he's still young, immature, not nearly anywhere near his peak strength potential. So Haku Oho, I think he's going to have a bad tournament, but it's not like this is going to be the end of him, he's going to come back. Tamawashi, the Iron Man, the man we were just talking about, whether or not he has a good tournament is irrelevant. We just care if he survives it. And he's fun because you never know if he's going to challenge for the cup like he did 3 years ago in September from Maegashira 3, that 13-2 U show, or if he's going to just shit the bed like he did with that his worst ever career record back in September 2023, that 2-13. But he hasn't had a bad record since then. Lots of 7 and 8s. 6-9 is his worst performance since that 2-13. So 2 years of good to, just below average performances. Not bad for the Iron Man. And I think the fun part is that question. Will he be able to challenge for the cup, or will he not? Like, definite dark horse. You can never ever count him out. But at the same time, he is older, and I think in his sumo, he's more preserving his body, doing more safe sumo than he is trying to do winning sumo. So in some of those matches, I could see him not going full speed to protect himself, protect those records. But at the same time, I feel like he could just turn it on whenever he wants and go for the cup, So he's not someone you want to pick if you want to win Kachi Clash, but he is an understandable pick and a fun pick. Then we have Hirado Umi. He's someone I feel like I still can't get a read on him because he was a 10-5 Komusubi at this time last year. But then after that, 7-8, 4-11, 7-8, bouncing back with a 9-6, 6-9, fighting mostly the same people as when he was a Komusubi. I just don't really know what his full potential is. Again, he's still young, 25 years old. Former Komusubi, could easily make it back up there. Maegashira 5, he might just be out of range, and you can see that on the first 2 days. Tamawashi, Takeru Fuji, he might dodge the Yokozuna, might not, might only fight a couple of the junior Sanyaku. He should be set up to have a good tournament if he doesn't fight the Yokozunas, basically. Same thing with Meisei. Former Sekiwake, he is a strong sumo wrestler. It's just most of the time I feel like he doesn't show his strength. Like 4-11, 5-10, 6-9 Kinboshi. Granted, that was a year and a half ago almost, but like even these recent 9-6 records haven't been that terribly impressive. So no, Daisho is 31. So I never know what to expect from Meisei, Former Sekiwake, but always seems to struggle no matter where you put him. Like, whereas Tamawashi can contend for the cup, Meisei has to contend for Akachi Koshi. And I that's not a bet I'm willing to make. Now, circling back to these Maegashira 1. Wakamoto Haru, I think this might be where the ride meets its end. He was a solid Sekiwake. He was almost an Ozeki hopeful. Like, look at this, 11-4, 10-5, 9-6, just so close. Good scores from Sekiwake, couldn't make it there. 10-5 from Maegashira 1, 9-6 Sekiwake, but then injured. 11-4 from Maegashira 3, 10-5 from Komusubi, but then 6-9 from Sekiwake recently. Like, I think his strength is starting to fade, and a lot of these other younger guys coming up are simply stronger than him. Again, me and Kongo like to say Wakamoto Haru is great when it comes to his fundamentals and his just his general strength, but that doesn't seem to be enough for him anymore. I would not bet on Wakamoto Haru here. Aonishiki, though, I can definitely foresee him being the favorite. He is the new hotness on the block. Every single one of his winning records in these 15-day tournaments has been double digits. And even before that, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1. Like, this kid is on fire. Will he meet his match? And will he finally get his first losing record? He's young too, 21 years old, and so strong. Almost made his Komusubi debut, needs a winning record from here. First matchups are Kotozakura, Onosato, and I assume on day 3 it's going to be the other Yokozuna. It's going to be Hoshoryu, which is a hell of a gauntlet to go through. Even if he falls to 0-3 after those first 3 days, I could see him bouncing back. I want to believe he could bounce back, but win or lose, this will be fantastic experience for him because he is very strong. But now he's at the point where he can't win on strength alone. He has to win with the help of technique, and his technique is not all there yet. Aonishiki, he is a very fun pick. I kind of want to pick him. I know he's going to be a popular pick, but after going through all of these names up here, Maegashira 1 through 5, there really is no clear-cut answer because I expect most, if not all of them, to struggle. And to me, this is just a question of, who is going to be the smallest loser? Like, who is not going to get double-digit losses? To me, Abi is a safe pick, maybe for 7 wins. Oho could be. Aonishiki, if he really shows up and turns it on, would be very exciting. Wakamoto Haru, he's inconsistent and losing strength. Tamawashi, he is another fun, surprising pick. He could turn it on. You could justify picking anyone up here, and it would be a good pick. Me, personally, I think I'm going with the Iron Man. I'm going to stick to Tamawashi. Sorry, I've done a lot of talking, so I need to take a sip of my root beer. Alrighty, this next section looks like there's a clear-cut favorite here, but you know who I gotta pick. It's the Monkey Man. Got Takeru Fuji, Gonoyama, Tobizaru. Endo is absent. Do not pick Endo. Sada no Umi, Ichi Yamamoto, Ura, Chiyoshoma, Atami Fuji, and Roga. Takeru Fuji, I think this was his first career losing record at the previous tournament. Like, Maegashira 4, he had to fight the gauntlet and he was stuck up. That's what I expect to happen to Aonishiki. I expect him to go through the gauntlet and get stuck. I think Takeru Fuji can easily bounce back with another 9-6, maybe even 10-5. He's going to be fighting Meisei and Hirado Umi. Those are not too difficult matches for him. And once he builds the momentum, he should be unstoppable. Across from him, Gonoyama. Gonoyama, he's strong, and I like him, but I don't think you can rely on him. Even just the recency bias of this result, 7-8, 4-11, to me, this reads, okay, because he's mostly fighting all the same people up here, this means he got figured out and is being beat back down. Now, the last time he was down in this neighborhood, Maegashira 8 in November, 11-4, he could go for another double-digit scoreline here, and I would not be surprised. So, Gonoyama and Takeru Fuji, both easily smart picks. Tobizaru, the trickster, the Monkey Man. 33 years old, so he is kind of slowing down a bit. 7 and 8 at the last tournament from Maegashira 6, where I thought he would have had a better tournament. Again, from here, Maegashira 7, I expect him to have a better tournament, but he's going up against Gonoyama, who he has a very low % chance of winning against, and then Ichi Yamamoto, who he has a very high % chance of winning against. So, I mean, that's just the Tobizato experience, isn't it? He is equally likely to go 10 and 5 or 5 and 10, and I am perfectly happy with that. Sadano Umi, the longtime veteran, almost as much of an Iron Man as Tamawashi, but you could see back in September of 2017, he was out for those first 5 days with an injury, so he doesn't have those longevity streaks. Again, in 2011 too, he was out for injury, but I mean, he's been around for more than 20 years. He made his debut when he was like straight out of high school, so he knows sumo. He's been around the block a couple of times, and being one of those longtime veterans, again, it's one of those like random chance bags. You don't know what to expect. Maegashira 7, Maegashira 11 at this time last year, 5 and 10, 7 and 8. Maegashira 12, 4 and 11. But then Maegashira 13 at the previous tournament, 10 and 5 Kanto Sho. This next tournament, Maegashira 8 in Nagoya, I don't know what to expect. Again, could go 10 and 5, could go 5 and 10, and either result would be, you know, within the ballpark. Like, Sadano Umi, he's still got the experience, he's still got that strength, but I have noticed in those losses, like, he looks weaker than he used to, because, you know, there's such a thing as a good loss, like a good fighting loss, where you had a chance to win but just lost it. When you have a bad loss, it's just like, oh, you didn't have a chance. Oh, you got completely overpowered. Oh, there was nothing you could do. And even though Sadano Umi had that 10 and 5, in those losses, it was just, oh, blasted by Aonishiki, pushed back by Kaio, outmuscled by Asashoryu. It's like, he could be another fun pick too. Ichi Yamamoto, finally being smacked down from those high ranks, 7 and 8 Kinboshi, 5 and 10 right after that. Again, that to me reads, he got figured out by the guys he was fighting. When even lower on the Banzuke, 7 and 8, 8 and 7 Merchant, like, you don't know what to expect from him. This 11 and 4 Jun Yusho from a year and a half ago, flash in the pan, let's be real. I expect another middling scoreline, 7 and 8, 8 and 7, so a lot safer of a pick than Sadano Umi or Tobizaru, but not as good of a pick as I think like Takeru Fuji or Gonoyama or even Atami Fuji, but I'll get to him when I get to him. Ura, I think he's in the same boat as Tobizaru. His tricks aren't working anymore. He's not as fast as he used to be. He's not as strong as he used to be. He has 4 straight losing records, 5-10, 7 and 8, 7 and 8, 5-10. And this is where he should be able to bounce back. And if he can't bounce back from here, then he should be able to bounce back from like Maegashira 14 or 15. And if he can't bounce back there, then, well, I guess he's back to Judio. But Ura is in the same boat as Tobizaru. His tricks should get him some wins against some guys that are less experienced. But eventually when he fights Tobizaru, Tobizaru is historically favored in that matchup. This tournament he's fighting Chiyoshoma, Trickster versus Trickster. He wins that almost all the time. And then versus Atami Fuji, 50-50 split. And I feel like that's how a lot of his matches are going to go. Like coin flip, 50-50, you don't know which way it's going to go. Chiyoshoma, he got smacked back down after being up in the Sanyaku. Got that Kinboshi from Hoshoryu back in March. 4 and 11 from Maegashira 5. I was hoping he would have a better tournament. But let's be real. Low Maegashira, high Judio is where he belongs. And even Maegashira 9, I think, is still a bit too high for him. He's a better gatekeeper than he is one of these middle-of-the-pack guys. I don't expect him to have a good tournament. Atami Fuji, again, he is one of those young guns, 22 years old. He's been in this top division since before he was 22 years old, or 20 years old even. So I'm excited to see him fight and hopefully get stronger, hopefully get faster. But it seems like that experience near the top when he was Maegashira 3, Maegashira 2 did not inspire confidence in him. Some could argue that because he's from Isagahama and there is currently like an overcrowding issue at Isagahama, what with the Miyagino guys there, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen to the Miyagino guys now that Miyagino, aka Hakuho, has retired. Maybe there's some stress in the Isagahama stable. I don't really know, but that could be contributing to the poor performances. That's just, one of a zillion different factors that could be affecting some of these guys. So for Atami Fuji specifically, I think he's still in that stage of being young and still needing experience. Like getting all the way up to Maegashira 1, the 11-4 Junyusho show, the 11-4 playoff. Those were fun, but he's not even close to his full potential. And he needs to get there in a reliable way. Will he perform well this tournament? I hope so, but considering he didn't perform as well as I had hoped at the last tournament, my expectations are not too high. And then, of course, Roga. Someone at the previous tournament told me to not roll the R when I say Roga or Ura, because rolling the R is like considered rude and also associated with the Yakuza. But I'm not Japanese. So Roga bouncing back from injury back in January earlier this year. 11-4 in Judio, 9-6 from Maegashira 14. With a winning record, could break above his old career high of Maegashira 8, which he set back in November. I don't know what to expect from him. I don't know exactly, how well he's healed from that injury, but I mean, the 11-4 from Judio 3 is a clear sign that he's pretty okay, 9-6 from Maegashira 14. That's a good, dipping the toe in the water, being like, okay, yeah, he's still good. And then, again, last time he was here, not even a year ago, 8-7, 7-8. I think he might have another one of those middling score lines, because it's hard to tell you what he does better than other sumo wrestlers, other than, he's stronger than some guys. He has better Yotsuzumo than some of those guys that don't really focus on Yotsuzumo, but he's not exactly the best at defending himself against Oshizumo. He's not the fastest guy out there either. He's another good one of those gatekeepers where, if you are stronger and faster, you will beat him. But if you're not stronger and faster, then you will have a hard time against him. And Roga being here, that's kind of perfect gatekeeping territory. He's mostly going to be fighting ranks below him, probably. Let me just double check. He's going to be fighting Atami Fuji and Chio Shoma, which are, right next to him in rank. But, I've explained this a bunch of times. Similar to how the Yokozuna can only fight ranks below them, Maegashira 17 can only fight ranks above them. So Roga, his tournament should mostly be eating some of these lower division guys, which, even if that is true, Kusano, Koto Eiho, Asashoryu, some of these young, strong gentlemen that, are difficult to deal with. So for Roga, I'm expecting another middling scoreline, either 8-7 or 7-8. But again, you know who I'm picking, Tobizaru. Uda is the same boat as Tobizaru. It's just a matter of who you like more between them. But if you want to win, Takeru Fuji and Konoyama are the clear favorites in this group. If you want to win Kachi Clash, definitely pick one of those guys. If you're like me and you mostly pick your favorites, I'm picking Tobizaru. I won't fault you for picking Uda or Sadano Umi or Ichi Yamamoto or pretty much anyone in this group, really, Then, of course, the most difficult to call, Maegashira 11 through 17, which should be incredibly interesting because of the debutantes we have. We have Takanosho, Toki Hayate, Midori Fuji, Asashoryu, Churano Umi, Shodai, Kusano, Fujinokawa, former Wakai Kari, Koto Shoho, Hideno Umi, Kaio, Mitake Umi, Koto Eiho, Koto Shoho's little brother, and Shishi. There's one clear hype pick here that everyone is going to pick, and that's Kusano. There are a couple of others that are my personal favorites that I like to see perform well, that being Asashoryu, Kotoeho, and Shishi. Shishi, very much struggling with those leg injuries. I do hope he is fully healed. I don't know if he is fully healed. I hope he is. If he's not, he'll go back down to Judo. If he is, he should get like 10 plus wins from here, easily. But I don't know if he's fully healed, and that's not a gamble I'm willing to make. Kotoeho, well, I'm going to kind of group a lot of these guys together. Kotoeho, Asashoryu, Midori Fuji, they're kind of, the smaller tactician types. Asashoryu relies more on his muscles in the Yokozuna. Midori Fuji, a tactician, definitely. Kotoeho, loves to throw, tactician. Those guys are fun to watch, and I like them. But are they the strongest picks here? Probably not. Would I pick them? Yes, because they're fun and I like them. Then we have someone like Shodai, God of Chaos. I think he's on his way down. I don't think he'll go down to Judo from here. I think he should have a winning record from here, but that's when he betrays your expectations and should go down. Koto Shoho, again, he's someone that it's hard for me to get a read on, even though, again, he's young. He's 25 years old. He's been in this top division for as long as I've been watching sumo, basically. 5 years, he was, 20 years old in the top division, and I had very high hopes for him, but he has not lived up to those hopes, and he seems to constantly be struggling. Now, at the last tournament, coming back from injury to rattle off 6 wins and save himself from falling to Judo, that was very commendable. That was a fun and interesting tournament for Koto Shoho. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the winning record, but still, what a way to come back and save yourself from Judo, right? Very commendable there. I don't know what to expect from his performance this tournament. Kaio and Mitakeumi, I would say they have similar styles, but they have similar body types, definitely. Both stout, round men. Kaio, watching him struggle those first 4 days hurt, and then getting 4 straight wins, and then 2 straight losses, and 3 straight wins, it's like, oh my god, I'm on a roller coaster here. Unfortunately, couldn't get the winning record, but stays at Maegashira 16. I'd like to imagine that with more experience that he gained, Kaio has a better chance of getting a winning record here. Mitakeumi, he is at his weakest right now. He is so incredibly weak compared to his peak that I have zero confidence picking him, and I would not pick him myself. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense that he's so weak right now, but maybe he just hasn't recovered from losing his father, losing Ozeki rank, that kind of thing. Very, very big struggle for Misake. Hide no Umi, Tobizaru's brother. A Judo man, a gatekeeper in this top division. Career high of Maegashira 6 all the way back in 2021. His sumo is never impressive to me, but he should be a decent gatekeeper down here at the bottom. I think he's going to get rolled over by most of these younger guys, though. Did I mention Churano Umi? I have not. He's on the older side, but only making his debut recently in the top division. It's been nice to have him. But, it's one of those things where, yeah, his time in the top division was never going to be a long time. Like, most of his career was in Judo, which that might be where he belongs at the end, or maybe he belongs down here. I don't expect another 11-4, but to see 3, 4, and 11 records in the past year alone, it just looks like this guy is either super hot or super cold. 10-5, 10-5, 4-11, 4-11, 11-4, 4-11. It's like, bro, he's not going to have an 8-7. He's probably going to go 10-5 here, but equally likely 5-10, and there's no in between. Toki Hayate, 28 years old. He's at a new career high, which, again, usually sumo wrestlers will struggle with. 8-7 at the previous tournament. I could see a slow climb from him here. Another 8-7 would definitely be in his wheelhouse. Let's see, I mentioned these guys at the bottom. Fujinokawa, former Wakai Kari. 12-3 from Judio 5, a fantastic performance, but usually that kind of thing does not hold up in the top division. I'd like to see him succeed. 20 years old, young. His rise was very quick up to the Judio division, you know, relative to a lot of his peers. It was slow with those 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. But, you know, making it to Judio and just getting through Judio in less than a year. Good for him to make it up to Maegashira not that long after his debut at the very bottom. But this is definitely where he should be hitting a massive roadblock. I don't expect a winning record. And then Takanosho, another enigma, because ever since I started watching sumo, his footwork has been a problem. I always complain about his footwork. His footwork has never improved, and he's gone from being, you know, a Sekiwake, maybe not an Ozeki hopeful, to almost winning a Yusho, to being in the playoff for a Yusho as recently as last year, to 3-12 from Maegashira 3. It's like, bro, what is going on? What are you doing? What's happening? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't like this. But we hop on the Takanosho roller coaster. We suffer. And again, he could go 11-4 or 4-11 from this rank. I honestly have no idea, and I wouldn't be surprised either way. So, Takanosho is my wife's favorite sumo wrestler. I have to pick him, because if I don't, she is going to smack me and make me tell people that I walked into a door. But that's my pick for the Kachi Clash. If you want to win the Kachi Clash, I would go with Kusano. If you want just interesting picks, Midori Fuji, Asashoryu, Kotoeho are my other favorites for this section. And then if you're picking anyone else, it's because they're your favorite or because you really believe Shishi has recovered from injury. Do you think Onosato will show up for this Basho, or do you think he'll bow out as it seems to be tradition for new Yokozuna? I think Onosato will show up. I think he will, at the very least, get the Yokozuna Kachi Koshi, minimum 10 wins. But I did say earlier, I think he might struggle with this new rank in the same way he struggled at Ozeki. And by struggled, he went 9-6 in his first tournament as Ozeki. So, these are my picks for Kachi Clash. We have Kotozakura, Wakatakakage, Tamawashi, Tobizaru, and Takanosho, because I like to be different. Kotoeho got hurt. Did he? I did not see that. Is he showing up day one or no? Because I did not see that news. But yeah, like I said, if you wanted to win, the most popular picks are probably going to be Onosato, Wakatakakage, Aonishiki. In this group in the middle, probably Takeru Fuji, and then Kusano. But let me save these picks before I forget. Yeah, I know, 9-6. Oh my god. Retire. But, let's see. I dropped to Maegashira 10. I was Ozeki 2 tournaments ago. What happened? I'm Maegashira 10. No. Hate this stupid game. Alright, and now, it was the last July tournament that I won, so if I don't get 51 points, I'm going to drop even further down the ranks. Damn it. In order to join my stable, I have to add you, so just put your name in the chat and I can add you to my stable. And for anyone else in the chat, if you would like to join Dickinson Bea 1, 2, or 3. I think, I don't remember which ones are full or not. But, I do like to continue expansion and continue being the biggest sumo stable of them all. You can see I have almost the full 150 recruits compared to, let's see, who's even the next closest guy? Flat Earth Sumo? Hell yeah. Wow, there are a lot of stables. You can see Midnight Sumo is right behind us. They have a little over 110. Nato Sumo has almost all 50. Oh, there are a couple of Japanese ones too. I wonder if it's actual Japanese people. Asashoryu. Alright. Let me see if I can find you. Not all player stats. There you are. Recruit. Jack and Daya, 1271. There you are, Jack and Dai. Recruit. Tommy Fuji apparently has arthritis, and one of his coaches called him uncoachable. Well, the arthritis I could believe, but that second thing sounds like just a tabloid rumor. Only 140 of those are your alts. You fool! I have 60 alternative accounts! Alright, but that will end the preview show here for the YouTube side. On the Twitch side, we will continue watching with the ring purification ceremony because, like I said earlier, if we continue watching these videos on YouTube, they will come down on me, give me a copyright strike, and then I won't be able to stream. So let's go over the schedules for day 1 and 2. Hoshoryu versus Takayasu. Wow, Takayasu is 9-1 in that head-to-head. That's crazy. Onosato versus Oshoma. Kotozakura versus Aonishiki. That should be fun. Wakamoto Haru, Kirishima. Oho, Wakatakakage. Onokatsu, Abi. Haku Oho, Kinbozan. Irado Umi, Tamawashi. Takeru Fuji, Meisei. Tobizaru, Gonoyama. What's up? Thank you. Guys, she's hitting me with Rice Krispies. I told you she would hit me.
Why? Are you not picking Takanosho?
No, I'm picking Takanosho.
Okay, you better We're almost done. So tired. I want to go to
I know, and he has not moved since you gave me the cat. Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Alright, we're preparing for Gideon's birthday party tomorrow, because his birthday was last week, but the party is tomorrow. So anyway, where was I? Haku Oho Kinbozan, Hirado Umi Tamawashi, Takeru Fuji Meisei, Tobizaru Gonoyama, Gonoyama heavily favored, Sarano Umi Ichiyamamoto, Ura Chiyoshoma, Ura heavily favored, Atami Fuji Roga, Takanosho versus Toki Hayate, Midori Fuji Asashoryu, Churano Umi Shodai, Kusano versus Fujinokawa, former Wakai Kari. I'm going to keep doing that for the next few days. Because inevitably someone will ask, who's this Fujinokawa guy? Where'd he come from? Kotoshoho Hideno Umi, Kaio Mitake Umi, and Kotoeho Shishi. We also have the Judio schedule, which Mita versus Shimano Umi should be interesting. And then, of course, on day 2, Aonishiki, Onosato, Hoshoryu, Wakamoto Haru, 16-3 in that head-to-head. Jeez. Kotozakura, Oho, Abi, Kirishima, 9-8 in that head-to-head. Very nice. Wakatakakage, Onokatsu, Kinbozan, Takayasu, Oshoma, Haku Oho, Meisei, Tamawashi, a good rivalry match, 9-7. Hirado Umi, Takeru Fuji, Sarano Umi, Gonoyama, Tobizaru heavily favored against Ichiyamamoto, Roga, Chiyoshoma, Ura, Atami Fuji, evenly matched, Asashoryu, Toki Hayate, Takanosho, Midori Fuji, Fujinokawa, Shodai, Chirano Umi, Kusano, Mitake Umi, Hideno Umi, Kotoshoho Shishi, and Kaio Kotoeho. Before I end too, some notable guys lower in the Banzuke. Asanoyama at Makushita 1. 4 and 3 gets him back to the salaried status. Let's hope he finally makes it. We also have, I was told to add these guys to my 7 days videos. We have Goshima, 6-1, 6-1, 22 years old, out of Takushoku University. Goshima, look out for him at Makushita 9. Then we have Fukuzaki at Makushita 15, 5-2, 6-1. 18 years old, practicing at Fujishima Stable. Look out for Fukuzaki. Then right below that, Enho Makushita 16 East. He just had that 3-4 losing record at Makushita 10. Now knocked right out of that top 15 ranks. So even with a 7-0, he would not be able to get back to Judo. A little bit lower on the Banzuke. I do hope Kawazoe did not suffer a major foot injury. Again, he was out for the majority of the previous tournaments. But twisting that ankle, hurting that foot again is not a good sign. I do hope he is back and at full strength. Then, a little bit lower, we have Ikarigata. Had his 3-4 at the previous tournament as well. Let's see if he can bounce back. Then, down in Sandanme, we have Tenrose making his debut after that 7-0 playoff loss to his own stablemate. Tenrose, Hoshoryu's cousin, 18 years old, down in the Sandanme division. Then last but not least, Hikaru Musashi all the way down at Jonidan 33. His rise a little bit slower, but we'll see how he does higher in that 5th division. We have a bunch of debutantes as well in Jonokuchi making their first tournaments. Minami, Nakai, Azuma, Tosoumi, Suetomi, Tanino, Tanaka, Kaki, Shimogama, and Yabugasaki. Those are some interesting names. Usually it's just their actual name. And you can see they're basically ranked based on their Maizumo matches. 3-0, 3-0, Minami, 0-5 in Maizumo. And it's interesting to see some of these guys. 19 years old. 15 years old. Tosoumi. Interesting. Look out for Tosoumi. 16 years old, Nakai. Nakai. Interesting name. So yeah, some of these guys, fresh out of high school, like actual babies. Jonokuchi is always interesting to watch, but not for the reason you probably think. And then, of course, where is everybody's favorites? Where is he? Where is he? I don't want to have to control F to look for him, but you know who I'm looking for. I can't find him. No, not Abi. Not all the way down here. There he is. Mori Urara. Jonokuchi 14. Look out for Mori Urara to start his Yokozuna push. But that'll be it from us over on the YouTube side. You good? I will be taking a short break to go get another drink of water. And then on the Twitch side, we will continue by watching a couple of videos, and then I'm going to go to bed because we have a long day tomorrow. A very long day tomorrow. So thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in over on the YouTube side. We will see you tomorrow.